And they're going to say, the buyer's going to say, well, I need a washer, dryer, stove, oven, and refrigerator anyway, so I'll pay $5,000 for this. That is a way to get money into the hands of the borrower / seller. And that's not something that banks look on favorably. All right, the bank does not want to see a situation where banks are giving the loan and taking a loss for the seller to get some money out of the deal. They want the seller to take to share the pain as well. So just so you know, don't facilitate transactions outside the home. I've seen situations in which in order to get the seller a little bit of money, the buyer has agreed to buy something that's almost valueless for an exorbitant sum of money. For instance, a couch for $2,000. You know, that's not going to fly. And the bank is going to, if the bank finds out, then that's loan fraud. And you could, not only you, but also your seller, could, as well as the buyer, could go to prison for loan fraud. So don't do it. Okay. Any questions so far on short sales? I'm about to switch into a little bit on foreclosures. I know I'm going through this information really quickly, and each situation is different. I see that Nelson here has 2 listings for short sales. Each of those situations is different, and the stuff that I'm giving you right now is very general in nature.
Hey, Scott, I remember you mentioned regarding now sometimes there's the first or the second, right? And a lot of times when it goes, the first only agree to pay the second, like $2,000, $3,000. And a lot of times, you know, the buyer willing to pay outside escrow, and I know that's going to be a steep penalty. Is there anything you advise us what to do, or you know, talk about a little bit?
Well, in terms of, okay, I think I heard 2 real questions there. There's one regarding buyers paying money outside of escrow, and the other is something on treatment of junior debt. Do I have that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. First, with buyers paying outside of escrow, you shouldn't do it. It's dangerous and it could constitute loan fraud. Now, if you want to do something well after the fact, for instance, if the seller is going to remove the washer, dryer, oven, stove, and refrigerator from the premises, and then after everything closes, and the seller has gotten their 1099-C from the lender, which is the cancellation of debt, the buyer now says, well, I do need a washer dryer, and then they contact the seller and say, sell me your washer and dryer. That would probably be okay, but the thing to keep in mind is that you want to keep that transaction as far removed from the sale of the property as possible, just to avoid any occurrence that you're giving the seller a case. Okay, so avoid that if you can. I mean, the key is, you know the old saying, it's not a crime if you don't get caught, right? If the bank doesn't know about it, you're probably okay, but the danger that the bank does know about it, the penalties are very severe. So bear that in mind. Now, your second question was treatment of junior debt. That relates also to the difference between recourse and non-recourse. Now, if you have if the first lien holder agrees to the short sale, the second lien holder will also need to agree to the short sale, or they're going to want something outside of the transaction, some sort of promissory note. They may agree to accept less, but they may want some promissory note. And that also relates to, I'll cover that a little bit more in depth when I cover recourse versus non-recourse. And if I haven't answered your question by then, raise it again. Okay. Any other questions regarding short sales? Yes.
Well, how about on the other hand, when the seller moving out, they can pick out take the refrigerator or the things with them?
If they own them, yeah.
They own, right?
Yeah. If it's, yeah. I suppose that if the property is relatively newly acquired and it was acquired furnished, meaning with the refrigerator in it, then you might argue that it came with the property. It depends on how it's affixed to the property. But generally speaking, if you bought it, you want it, you can take it with you. So, does that answer your question?
No.
Okay.
Not exactly.
Maybe I misheard you.
Like right now we can negotiate, right? So seller can say including all these things, personal property. But right now if the short sale, right? If the seller say this personal property is mine, so I want to take out. So the bank will be ask them to in there, or the seller can take all this personal property with them.
The seller can take the personal property with them. You know, ostensibly, if the seller is in a short sale situation, they're going to be moving into a different home. They're going to eventually need a refrigerator anyway. So they're going to say to the bank, well, I own all this personal property, and I want to take it with me. Because I'm moving to a smaller place and I need a refrigerator. And the bank is likely to say, okay. Now, if the seller is in a financial hardship, but the seller also has these brand new Viking Wolf appliances that are top of the line and very, very expensive, then the bank may say to the seller, well, you know, you have these real nice appliances. You don't need such nice appliances. If we keep them in the property will increase in value slightly, and then we'll get more money. So we're gonna ask you to leave those. Now it is your property. You can take it if you want, but that decreases the likelihood that the bank is going to agree to short sale. Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
What about when it closes? Seller rent back, and maybe the buyer say, "Well, I'll give you a rent back with, you know, maybe incentive not to charge you like for 2 months, 3 months." Would it consider profit from the seller?
That's a very good question. I think that's a very good question. I think that would probably depend on whether the seller was being charged market rent. If the seller was being charged market rent for the property, then I doubt that the bank would look on it as profit to the seller. If the seller were getting a sweetheart deal, in other words, market rent is $2,500 a month, and he's paying $500 a month, then they might look on it like that. There's no reason you can't do that, but there are two things about that. First, you probably would want to disclose that to the lender and say, I want to rent back this property from the buyer. I'm renting it at market rent. I'm not taking any gain on this. And I only intend on living there for a couple of months while I find someplace else. The lender's probably going to be okay with that. If there's a sweetheart deal, or if it really appears that the seller is not actually selling the property, then the case is different, and the lender will be okay. But that's an interesting question, and it also gets into, can you do a sale leaseback in a short sale? You can. You can do a sale leaseback in virtually any situation, and one of the other practices I do is landlord tenant. And just so you know, if you do a sale leaseback situation, you're not within the normal rent ordinance, but that also presumes that it's only for a limited amount of time. You know, it's only for 6 months that you're going to be leasing the property back. And the addendum, it's an addendum to the purchase and sale contract. It's not a separate lease document. So, just so you know, that could be a good situation. The buyer is not ready for commission, and the seller is not. Let's move on briefly to foreclosures. There are two main types of foreclosures, and one is way more common than the other. The one that's more common is a non-judicial